It seems like past repeats itself. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Not my predictions.
I mean, you repeated it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
repeated it.
baby, we're winning.
We start off on a good foot for me. So yeah, past repeats itself in the end. Ruddy takes another W. It's the third one for them in the entire split, and we need to understand what happened. So let's talk through this one. Initialize.
Yeah.
Hit me. I was gonna say, like, tell me the strengths and the weapons for both teams and what led to this, but just go ahead. I'm sad.
So, this was a very interesting game in a lot of ways, because the big one here was Verdant drafts an Ezreal Rakan, where the Ezreal is going to be left alone, and Rakan can go visit every other lane, every other point on the map, and double up with his Xin Zhao to get leads elsewhere. The Ezreal should be safe on his own on the bot side. It's what Ezreal can do. He's a relatively difficult champion to take out of a game if he's being weak side. And they do that to an extent. They get Doxy a pretty filthy lead. He gets up 2,500 gold individually, built ganked multiple times. But it comes at cost. And whether this is an active game plan to say, hey, we've got a huge shove with Varus Karma, or whether it's actually just a reactionary to the fact that the Ezreal is being left alone, the response is we're going to stack dragons from Ruddy, and we're going to try and dive this Ezreal a number of times with the priority we've got. Yeah. And you end up in this really weird situation where Verdant have got a strong top side of the map, but Ruddy have stacked dragons and have managed to get some kills elsewhere, and you end up with quite an even mid-game, and things get kind of weird from there, because Ruddy don't play like Ruddy. They play remarkably patient.
Yeah, I mean, if there is a conscious decision that Ruddy made, they definitely were swapping for the subsequent Drakes after the Drakes started to get stacked in those late game scenarios, with one big exception where they didn't quite know if they could go for that Drake or if they wanted to cross map for the turret top side. And in that moment, I think you revealed a lot about what was happening in the Ruddy comms and the Ruddy game plan there. What they had was a draft that does somewhat play itself so long as you are not addicted to this front-to-back, contest every single objective mindset that most CRL teams are in. And to talk about a player like Alex, for example, being patient, that's a miracle right there in and of itself.
Really, isn't it?
Guy was 0-0-0, coming in at 11 minutes, and that's when you know he's confident on the champion that he is playing. That Zed, by the way, you go look at his KDAs from his tours of Italy, he is always like this on that champ, but the rest of the team also steps up here, right? So you do have that Varus Karma shoving, you do have that Rumble, this kite back composition that they had, but they actually played it to kite. They weren't going all in, they weren't trying to play as a front-to-back 5v5, they would have been annihilated if they did do that. They gave Zed the time, and then when Zed needed to, he gave them the time to get in position on repeat. So long as they didn't die, they knew eventually something would crack. What ended up cracking was PlayStation, the guy that actually got them a lot of advantages early by doing that cross map towards top side. But then on blue buff, he thought he had it, he didn't quite, he got kited, and suddenly 5v5s don't exist anymore. You're on your own, buddy, you're down, now your mate's down. Then Ruddy just ran away with the whole game. But until then, it was a waiting game, and Ruddy played the waiting game beautifully.
Who would have thought?
Yeah,
who would have
no
thought?
one would have
Ignore
thought
the lure of the team fight.
Yeah.
Play slow,
Such a
play
big
your
difference
side
from
lanes.
yesterday to today. There's a lot to talk about it, so that's why we're going to introduce to the show. Gifte was waiting for the interview. We need to understand what. Look at that smile. Starting off with that smile.
Again.
Hello again.
All right.
You got another W versus Verdant, one of the top teams. I mean, what happened from yesterday to today?
All I've just been is the team has been cooking. We sat down. I think everybody took a good evening, and actually refocused. And then when we started into warm-ups today, it was just a completely new team.
It looks like it, and this Azir weapon, the Zed versus the Azir. Was this something planned or pulled up on the champion select itself?
I mean, I think that they were sitting in comms, and then they're like, Alex, what do you want to pick? And he's like, yeah, just pick Zed. And that's the story.
Oh.
That's the confidence of our mid laner.
Okay. Another thing that we were talking about is the fact that it seems like Ruddy finally played the early Ruddy we saw. So they gave time. Well, it's even a better version of themselves, even better than the first version we got introduced to. Let's wait for the game. Let's not rush things. Let's not go crazy, Ruddy up. Let's actually play like a team and understand the macro and the micro. Is this the work of Wolverine? Is this the work of the team getting together? And what do you think this is?
I mean, not only have coach been helping out the team very much, but we've had a super scrim week this week. We have done pretty much double blocks every single day, scrimmed a lot of really, really good ERL teams. And the team has, if everybody saw how well the team was performing in scrims, they would understand why they're performing so well today. That's all I have to say.
Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. By not saying anything, you're saying a lot of things, by the way. So imagine this, Gifted. Talk to me. It's only you and me. Nobody else is watching. We do predictions. I just lost a lot of points. Convince me throughout the rest of the weeks on me putting points on ready.
I mean, if you look at this game, and as I've seen every single scrim being at this level, if you see this game and you realize that they've been playing like this off screen for the entire week, wouldn't you have a bit more faith? Because this is only a little touch. This is the beginning of what's really gonna be this coming week and this coming weeks. I think that this team has so much to deliver, and if everybody have just seen every single scrim they've been doing, then winning this game is not even a surprise because we've been scrimming some incredible opponents. And I mean, with that confidence, and of course that the entire team has stepped up, I feel like if you're not betting already, then you're making a mistake.
Sold! I'm gonna put points on ready. Thank you so much for the interview, Gifted. That was a wonderful thing.
Thank you
I
very
hope
much
to
for
see you
having
again.
me. Have a good evening as well.
Thank you. Have a nice one.
I mean, what did do it?
The excitement.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I mean, and I also love they're not revealing their secrets, you know. Was it the coaching? Was it a great week of scrims? Was it the big bale of weed that they gave Alex before the game? Who knows? All right? Who knows how he got this new Ruddy?
I'm not sure. That was he was certainly blazing it up on the riff. That guy was fantastic. And actually, you do have to kind of take a moment as well to say, look, when we were kind of organising this show, we were also talking about, well, who could potentially be a joker pick of a team? And for me, it was Ruddy because we saw the individual players. It's just like, how long would it take them to synergize? Would they synergize? This was a game that actually looked way more cohesive than we've seen from before. And I don't even think Verdant played that badly. They played to their win cons. They got Doxy a lead. It's just Ruddy actually played kind of that step ahead of them in some ways. And it hit this point where Verdant didn't really have the engage tools to punish the four-man. Yeah. Alex was too slippery on a side lane. And credit to it, they played the draft really, really well. And Verdant didn't have that many answers.
Yeah, I mean, Verdant did play smart, but there was a lot more on them to have to do things than there was on Ruddy to have to do things, and Ruddy were happy to just keep the game going as long as it took for Verdant to finally just get just that little bit eager, right? And I hope they default to this, because we have seen a couple of teams try these kinds of comps, right? We saw Venom Crest, for example, with their ridiculous pike composition with multiple shields on them. We've then saw them lose in the next week to Verdant's own iteration of Senna Seraphine, and I hope we see these kinds of comps more because it's a really good time when the Earl teams bring them out and you generally see a different side of them. They can be terrifying like here, and they can lose you all your points like Archeron.
Best start for them, not a good start for me today, but let's move on to the next one. Lions Creed versus DMG. Previous time they faced each other, it was Johan, the MVP of the match. He was menacing to look into, and this was the version of Lions Creed we stepped in and we said, oh, this is a super team. Oh, we gotta be careful. Will we get the same thing today though?
History suggests that Lions Creed once again go 1-1 because they have a really hot day and then a day that doesn't look so good. But I'm hoping here, for Lions Creed's sake, that against the 1-4 team, we see something a bit more consistent. And that has been the call from pretty much everyone on the desk, everyone on the crew. Look, Lions Creed from ahead, great team. They know what they're doing. They've got a lot of very talented people. The super team label comes out. You stick it on, you feel very good. For about a day, then you hit games where they get a little bit lazy in some of their setups. They get a little bit disjointed in terms of their coordination in moving together. In particular, that synergy between mid, jungle, support all being on the same screen kind of is more of a screen and a half a lot of the times, and that gets them in trouble. So we'll see whether DMG can punish that or not.
Just give them double split push comp. Put Banderas on these split pushers. Put them on these wide map states. Just do that. I know you lost to Lightside with that, but don't let that, make you nervous in champ select. Don't lose in draft off of that. The best version of Lion's Creed is a version where Banderas is able to just hit towers, ignore everything else, basically play Alex's game, but with less weed. So let's see if they go back to that. They definitely don't want the enemy to out-sustain them, so I'm glad with the Seraphine ban there. The Nocturne ban also makes you think they're thinking about playing this kind of style. Let's see if they do it. That's the Lion's Creed I want to see. Because I got
agree.
5 points on you, all right? I don't want to feel like Archon at the end of this.
Okay, let him cry for a second. I think the other thing, though, for DMG is get Shift on something that you can support, because Shift has been someone that very consistently, kind
Senna.
of that 1 to 6 kind of mark, gets very tricky for Shift. He's often ended up bleeding out a lot of gold and resources because he dies a lot at that point. And the times they've won, the one game they've won, was when Shift actually got to win those skirmishes because the team just came, joined him on an invade around a blue buff, and they found that win against natives. The Karma first pick did come through from Lion's Creed. It's an Ezreal lock-in, and you seem very pleased.
I want to understand this, yeah, because you went through pain and now hope and now excitement.
Well, what do you
Because
got?
when they lock Senna, the option to go for a 1-3-1 composition suddenly is off the table. Senna with her globals, you do not want to be into that, right? So I would rather Lion's Creed end up picking up the Senna, even if they have this weird Karma Senna bot lane, which I actually think is brilliant. All right, please start pairing your Sennas with artillery mages. You'll be amazed.
That sounds
at
quite
how
fun,
well
actually.
Senna's
Sounds
doing.
really obnoxious.
Yes, it's terrifying. No one does it. Do it, guys. Not into Ezreal, but do it. Right? But we'll see what they do now. I just hope that this means Senna is off the table. Lion's Creed don't have to go into the Senna themselves. I do think Karma is a really good thing to start on. Karma Callista as well. That's a lot of priority there. These kinds of full prior lanes are where Johan starts to do his best work. I loved him when he was playing Lee Sin with a heavy focus on jungle invades with all that kind of priority. It reminded me of Season 4 Meteos, I am that old, when he was
That's a deep cut. There you go.
playing Lee Sin primarily for those kinds of invade scenarios.
Oh, was it the 60-minute kick? Was that the moment? Back in
Oh,
the day, it was.
that was yeah.
Oh,
so
wait.
that was the world's moment. But I do remember his Lee Sin being unbeatable and being insane in North America in the season when North America had its best results at Worlds until literally this year, guys. So
We just got an Ashe, Callista, and Karma,
Yeah.
by the way.
That is
So
prior.
what that says is Johan gets something that can either cover a dive like a Maokai and then be something to allow that push to continue unabated, or something that can be really aggressive with the dive like the Lee Sin that Veteran was asking for. Karma's likely going mid. You're gonna have a loaded shove bot. You use that to try and make sure that this Ezreal plus Rakan has a miserable time. If Dux is leaving to try and do what Verdant did last time, Carbs is going to have a very tricky time on this Ezreal, because either you're just not in range of the tower to hit the minions, or you die.
I'm interested, right, off of this. Does this mean that they are abandoning the opportunity for Banderas to go for a split pusher, or are they going to all in on the Banderas split pushing mechanic and potentially go into a 1-1-3 with Jinjo being the other side of it? Because Jinjo on the Caitlyn, on the Callista, historically speaking, these are champs where he does like to extend the amount of time that he plays on sides in a 3-man grouping. You'll have full prio there. We'll see if they try to play this kind of like 3-man state with Karma in the mid lane there as well and try to get that priority on Banderas too. And then Jinjo gets, if initialized, of course, the conversation we had, kind of hand-sammered, you almost assume you know what that is, on the bot lane.
Yeah, that was behind the scenes, but you're right. It's like, yes, the Callista now plays by herself and everyone else is not there. Enjoy your solo lane experience. The Callista cries a little, but you win the rest of the map, so what are you going to do?
Yes.
But yes, there's a couple key bans there as well. Look, the bans there against particularly, I suspect, LVS saying, look, the Yone's a flex, yes, but the point being with the Syndra mid lane, you're saying, Banderas wants to be able to play this lane and not be worried about getting dove by something super aggressive. Johan on a Belveth would be quite good fun, and that suggests then that Banderas won't be on strong side, or at least something with the split push presence, because with this, you're going to be trying to abuse your priority in mid and top, or mid and bot, to get some value out of it. A Poppy would be potentially quite good fun into things like the Ezreal and the Rakan. Of course, the Steadfast presence
And
makes their
Viego.
lives a lot harder.
And Viego as well.
We called
That's
out
a
the
Lee
we
Sin.
called out the Lee Sin earlier. There's clearly some debate happening as to what they want. I think a lot of these all make sense from Lion's Creed. It just depends what flavor of comp they want to zone this one out with. They've gone towards the Lee Sin. Zillion was an old Kasing special. He hovers it all
Yeah.
the time. He's not locking it in.
Oh!
Udyr fallen out of favor, but you can play it as a kind of split push option. It's also relatively good being like 1vx because you're Udyr and very hard to lock down.
This is the Johan permanent invades of 3-lane prio Lions Creed I wanted to see, with Bandera split pushing. This is the Lions Creed that I wanted to see come out here. Is it technically counterable? Yes, but Lions Creed are comfortable in these kinds of scenarios. And is anything really counterable when you always have to model your lane as a 2v1 or as a 3v2? Because let's be real, with these kinds of priorities, Johan can be a threat anywhere. Your jungler's going to have a very difficult time. So I want to see DMG playing back into their jungle, setting up against Johan's invades, because that's what you need to stop. Or Johan's going to run away with the map off of these priorities, and it could be a very difficult game as DMG gets choked out. But one catch is all it takes. It's a squishy composition. It's Syndra. It's Gwen. This is a one reset on
Viego
shift.
resets. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, like, to dovetail onto that, eyes on shift. And that's mainly to see, does he get picked off early? This guy loves to skirmish, but has honestly not been very successful at it. This game, with all the prior, with the hawk shot spotting him out every given opportunity, if it goes wrong for Shift this game, it's going to go catastrophically wrong. If he starts getting some of those kills and the Syndra and Gwen come online, well, then maybe it's going to look a little different.
Well, he was the reason why they actually got that W with the invasion coming in from that champion. But the other side, you have Johan, who was the MVP when they faced each other before, and now is playing with Lee Sin. So it's going to be a bloody jungle, and it's going to be a toss to the casters. Redoute and Milcott, it's up to you. Yeah, I know you have a mouse.
Doesn't stop him
Chat,
being a rat.
Stream, Middlecott, I want everybody to cast their mind back to week number 1, where Shift played versus Lions Creed. I was flash forced at level 1, and then at level 3, he got invaded by Johan and died. At level 3, it is Wolves. Lions Creed didn't play Kalista Ashe that game, nor did they play Super Prio mid and top laners either. This time, they've got Super Prio mid, top and bot, and a Lee Sin jungle. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I think that the desk are absolutely right in their assessment. If Shift gets shut down early, then the chance of DMG getting something out of this are very, very slim. But Cabs is back.
Cabs is back. 100% win rate.
He's not playing top lane. He's playing AD carry when he's a support main. So that's new. But statistics don't lie.
My
Rude
favourite
dude.
LCS support, Ole. Numbers
DMG
don't lie.
Getting the dub. We're going to be going into game. Oh, I'm never going to get tired of that, Roo.
No, the great thing is that you don't see as the stream is just Middlecott just did a full lap of his bedroom dancing to the vibes of that song. So I just kind of have to stand here and expect that at this point. As Lions
Disappointed
Creed,
parent vibes. Lions
Yes.
Creed going for an invade here. Cabs
Might have to
will
flash.
spot it out, but with a double hail of blades coming out of the bot lane, it's a load of early damage. And if Johan's Q range was just that little bit longer, we could have been looking at first blood for Lions Creed with barely a minute played.
that's one of those sponsored by Manscaped cues for a nice close shave. Johan not quite able. No?
No,
No? It
yes,
was.
yes,
It was.
yeah, no.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't in
Thank
good
you.
conscience tell you that you're wrong, but this does feel wrong. A little bit on a moral level.
No, it's fine. They don't care about ducks. Okay, hey guys. We've been spotted already.
Oh no, Shift! He can't even do his first cab.
Week 1, you got your wolves and died. This time, you can live. The wolves, you're not getting them.
Yeah, and really importantly, actually, Johan taking away that little wolf. So this isn't going to be level 2 off this cab, even if Shift was able to grab it. So he's forced to go into the top side, and this does open up the opportunity for Johan to pass straight into bot lane.
I need to see who got experience in the bot lane, because if Jinjo didn't get the first 3 melee cubes of XP, they could be in for a torrid time of things. Now, if he did, obviously, I think he did, judging by the XP bar, so he should be fine. But you can see, I think that Rakan has proven to be a little bit of a laning bait pick, even in just these first 2 games. especially pairing with Ezreal. You don't get any prio, but now they're looking to converge onto Johan, who didn't get the blue. Shift actually did. Remember, when DMG have looked good so far, it's been when Shift has been on fire. And with him stealing away that blue buff, maybe very early on, but it's a little advantage. Kasing just missed a W. We won't talk about it.
We will not talk about that at all. Cabs is going to be able to find himself under this tower. This has been a very protracted play here from Lions Creed in the bottom lane, but it doesn't feel like they're gaining all that much from it. Shift is going to throw up the thumbs up as he sees his Gromp taken away, and I don't really think that Lions Creed can play for anything under this tower.
No.
Johan is going to be able to go through and claim the rest of his own jungle, but it has been a bit of a slow start.
Hold on. His own jungle? He has push top and mid. He'll get his red buff. He's on his way in. I really think that if they're looking to play this comp to the best capability, that we should be looking to deny Shift as many camps as possible on as many waves as possible. Now, looks like the diversion through the red buff, the pathing just a little bit too long. But if you think that's the last time that Johan is going to be inside the jungle of DMG, I think we are all sorely mistaken. I also do want to touch on this Karma in the mid lane. Now, you'll also know I cast the CB LOL. Now, Tinones, famous CB LOL mid laner, got absolutely owned by a Karma mid lane, by a guy who'd been having a terrible split. I think this champion is so OP that you can perform with it.
Johan looking for another adventure into the bottom lane here. Level 4 actually for Jinjo. High HP bars on the DMG bot side, and Johan having to flash away, gets over the wall. It's first blood over to Dux. Cabs is eventually going to be falling in the backside, but it's not before DMG get the first kill in this game. Kasing having to flash away, and Jinjo can follow through onto the Rakan for a double. Messy stuff from Lions Creed, but they're going to be happy with the result.
Yeah, exactly. The ends justify the means. They'll be happy that they only lose their jungler in exchange for 2 kills on a Kalista. We've said so many times that getting this Kalista snowballed is very important. It's not just the 2 kills either, Middlecott. It's the denied wave, the denied experience, the denied CS, because Cabs, through no fault of his own, is down 20.
Yeah, playing AD carry in insert season here.
Yeah.
Just feels like the nature of the role at this point. And I love that these are on Jinjo, because I feel like out of all the players on Lions Creed, he has been the most consistent. We've seen some iffy laning performances from Tend. We've seen Johan go a little bit too greedy at times, but Jinjo, I feel like, has always been there dealing as much damage as he can, so enabling him, not a bad thing to do.
Absolutely not. And when we look at the rest of the composition as well, the damage for Lions Creed, it's not particularly abundant. As much as we, harp on the fact that they've got 3 pushing lanes, that's because their base damages are insane. Okay, DMG, this is like a scary, crazy play if you can pull it off. Obviously, a Karma going to be very difficult to gank, especially with a flash. But to highlight the Lions Creed composition once again, to round out, Karma doesn't do a lot of damage during the late game. I actually think that with Malignance, that got boosted a little bit, so you can do more damage into the mid game and potentially a little bit of that late. But Banderas is going to be more of an annoyance. Lee Sin is a kick bot as you move later into the game unless you're super fed. So all of your gold being on Jinjo, where you want it to be.
Yeah, and so for Lions Creed, the name of the game is Acceleration, as those base damages, they feel really fair.
Yeah, really good. And now Johan, he's just going to walk his way back down to bot side, spotted on this ward down here. And actually, maybe Mercy being given over Shift, you can see on the minimap, he's actually already in the bot lane, ready and waiting for a potential dive to come through. Johan senses maybe tingling a little bit.
And Johan doesn't necessarily even need to get anything up on here. It's all about shutting down Shift. Kasing rotating over to help out his jungler steal away another Gromp, actually just going to leave it be for the time being. And Lions Creed might be looking at another dive here. Duck's half HP.
Yeah, it's really tricky actually, because when you've got situations like this, you would think, okay, well, you're going to lose your bot side, try and play toward this top lane. You guys try ganking a Nudie with Ghost. You try ganking a Karma with Flash as pre-6 Viego, and when your setup is Gwen Syndra. Plays on the other side of the map, unfortunately, don't particularly exist. Lions Creed have got a really good window where they are punishing very heavily and making sure that they're getting the most out of it. That Gromp denial, first of all, and of course, a load of CS being dropped by Cabs.
And this is feeling very similar to the first time that these two teams actually played off Shift. Starting up the Void Grobs, Johan gonna tag him with the Q, the flash away from the Viego, but slowed up by the Tempest Cripple. Does have that bonus movement speed from the harrowed path, but he's not going to have any help from his top lane. Can't dodge the Q, and Johan gets his first kill of the game.
The Grubs there interrupting Tempt on his recall. But it's a really nice roam from the Karma in the mid lane. And again, the Korean duo roaming nicely to make sure that they are able to find a kill. Punish Shift for, that brief window. Again, like we've said, trying to make plays on the other side of the map. It's not just difficult because the laners can escape. It's also difficult because if their jungler does peek up, in this case Lion's Creed, Johan does, you've never got Prio to help move.
Yeah, and we're seeing the pushing lanes come to fruition right here. Lions Creed, they can always move, they can always play with their jungler, and DMG, they need to find something soon.
Yeah, and there is a small window now in the mid lane because Tempt took a base, teleported back in. Agony Pain did the same but got a better buy off, so he was able to get that lost chapter. Unfortunately, you're now seeing Tempt go back to base. He's going to come out of base, he's matched that lost chapter, and now that window has unfortunately gone. DMG, as you say, they need to find something soon, but the question is, where do they get it? You just don't know.
And Shift spotted on that blue ward at his Raptors as it's dying, so he really shut down in his ability to affect the game. Bannerus here, absolutely vibing on the Udyr. He doesn't need to actually do too much against the Gwen. Like you said, he's just going to be that permanent safe boss up in the top lane, always going to have push when he wants it, and going to be able to 1v1 LVS for a fair while into this game.
Yeah, once the Gwen has reached those couple of item breakpoints, can deal quite substantial damage. The question then becomes, can you keep on top of the Udyr, which is obviously a lot trickier a question with the move speed, the shield that can come through. But it's important to recognise as well that Drake going down for DMG buys them 5 more minutes. And it may seem a little bit strange to say that so early on, but with the amount of prio that Lions Creed have down on the spot side, the fact that they don't get the first Drake is actually fairly detrimental and one of the big conditions you can use to win out.
Oh, LVS caught out here, but Banderas,
losing this.
Soon as he drops that second R, content to walk himself away. But I think time is very important, right, for DMG, because if we're talking about how Lions Creed are full aggro early on, going for the pushing lanes, DMG, they do have those scaling threats. The Gwen is going to be monstrous if she gets those big item spikes. The Ezreal, the Syndra, they can exist in the later stage of the game too. And hey, if Shift is able to recover this game, all it needs is one reset for the Viego. But Lions Creed, they don't seem like they're going to be giving away any of those opportunities anytime soon.
TP used by LVS on that top side. Banderas is going to have his TP in about 90 seconds time, so a window to make a play there if they fancy. Grub's going to be spawning as well for a second batch, not in the next couple of minutes, but soon enough for Lions Creed to potentially get all 6. And if you're looking to accelerate an early game, 6 Grubs plus a Rift Herald can do untold work and trying to get that win streak going.
Jinjo dodging out of the ground entrance. Very smooth there on the Kalista. Already taken down
here. Now he is.
Plates in the bottom lane. Shift, yeah, on the wrong side of things, but Agony Pain is going to be there to help him out. Jinjo able to flash away. Kasing dropping low. The power unleashed onto the Ash. Shift gets the reset, but gets exploded as soon as he takes over the corpse. 1-for-1 beneficial for DMG at this point, but they're still being forced back.
Yeah, a little bit of an experience there for Shift. What the pain and suffering has been like for AD carries just in general. Picks up an Ash's body, realizes that he's useless, and then dies instantly. So pretty cool stuff for the LVL, or for the DMG jungler, excuse me. Either way, though, a 1-for-1. It's actually a really decent proactive play by DMG. I do like it in the grand scheme of things. Agony Pain used his TP to make it happen, but it's coming at the cost of a little bit of a push in the mid lane, a little bit of an experience deficit as well. Tempt has been very methodical in this mid lane and not necessarily lost out on anything.
I think the key thing, though, for Agony Pain picking up that kill is he actually hasn't grabbed boots yet.
No.
He's just there on the Lost Chapter and the Hextech Alternator, so that first item spike can come through very, very quickly for this Syndra. And if I'm looking across the roster of the Lions Creed champions, I'm not seeing too many tanks that are going to be able to persist through fights if they're getting blown up.
Can I raise you a full AP Karma shield?
Yeah, no, that would probably do it.
There we go. That's the beauty of a full AP Karma is, yeah, okay, Mantra Q is absolutely obscene, but also those shields, they've got a lot of like sticking power to them now. There's a lot of HP that goes into them. So there's a world where they can have a front line. They also have Udyr, so that's part 2. But I do value the fact that this Syndra getting that first item very quickly will also enable those resets. I really want to see how well we see Agony Pain use his ultimate. For me, it should always be on first target. The way they're winning this game is through getting resets for Shift, allowing them to progress through the team fight with that numbers advantage and the fresh body that Shift can use. The best way to get that going is unleash power at 120 stacks, get an execute, and find your fight that way.
Yeah, I mean, if I was DMG, I'd really want Jinjo on my team.
Yeah.
At this point in time, the Callista can struggle against control mages like the Syndra when she gets into the teamfight stage, because you do have to be so close to stack up those spears, get those auto attacks down. But honestly, with the movement that we've already been seeing from Jinjo, dodging away from that ground entrance on that bot lane dive, and with how fed he is at this point, he might just be able to 1v1.
I will say the issue with Callista versus Syndra specifically is you can shotgun ult on Syndra, which is where you don't use your scatter, you just walk up, QR, there are 4 balls then on the ground, and you scatter immediately, and it's borderline impossible to dodge unless you go over the skill shot, which is very difficult to do, but not out of the realms of possibility. Jinjo also has cleanse as well if he does end up getting hit. The issue then, of course, becomes, well, maybe Syndra base damage just kills you with QR.
I mean, that champion is very, very normal at points.
Need to look at the map, though, because second grubs have spawned. The bot lane already moving up. Jinjo very far ahead of his counterpart. He's going to look to make the difference and get Lions Creed that 6 grub fight.
Oh, Johan going and getting the kickback onto Agony Pain, and teleport is going to come
dead.
through, and Shift is already dead. Agony Pain going to get chased forward, flashes away, ducks. The next target here is Johan ward-hops aggressively. The flash over the wall. Tempt following his jungler, securing the kill. Lions Creed playing aggro, getting the kills, and going to be able to secure objectives as well.
It was the arrow from downtown there that set Shift up for despair. He got caught by an enchanted crystal arrow, and Kasing and the rest of Lions Creed were more than happy to capitalize on that, take the Viego down before any sniff of a reset could come through. Now they're already min-maxing on the map as well. We've got our solo laners pushing in mid lane. We move up to the top side. Jinjo's pushing in on the top lane as well, and we'll leave our 2 supporting cast to take down these grubs.
Yeah, almost getting the Caitlyn treatment, right?
Yeah.
Of just
Plate
taking down
treatment.
all the plates in the bottom lane, go to another lane, grabbing as many plates as you can there. Potentially engage in the bot side, but again, Vanderas can just walk away. Oh no, Ducks! Oh no, Ducks! The ult thrown down, Kasing coming forward. Cam's actually going to be the next one focused out, and actually, DMG's bot lane able to escape for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, that's the silver lining, is that they didn't get double killed underneath their tier 1 and tier 2 turret. They still lost top tier 1 with all plates going down. Granted, a couple of them probably to Banderas, but obviously Jinjo doing the hard work on those. Now they get to reset, spend all of that gold that they got from the couple of kills, plus the fight on the top side, plus those plates, move themselves now into the mid lane, try and take themselves a couple of plates there as well, but they're actually going to fall off. But even more importantly, they'll be able to secure themselves that dragon, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's really the one thing that DMG have got for themselves right now that they can look at as a positive. Bit of a speculative Ash Arrow there, thrown out by Kasing, nearly hitting Agony Pain, but yeah, as soon as that spawns, Lions Creed are right onto the bottom side of the map. DMG might be able to trade for the Rift Herald here, but honestly, I'm not sure how beneficial that really is. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
That just wasn't even close either. Like, that is crazy how scarily far behind this Ezreal is. Just to find out, really, that you can't fight any top laner no matter what season or what carry you're playing.
Yeah, LVS here, going to be caught by Johan and Kasing, but is able to pop the ghost and get himself out of there. Has now completed his first item, so a bit more of a threat in a 1v1 situation, but honestly, it doesn't look like Lions Creed are going to be giving you any 1v1 situations. It feels like every time Johan's been going forward, there's been at least 1 or 2 other members of his team there to help him out.
Absolutely. And I do actually value DMG taking away this Rift Herald. I think that that is probably more valuable to Lions Creed, so the fact that they trade upwards for me means that that snowball capability for Lions Creed certainly goes down quite a lot. And go fight top lane.
Yeah, we are trying to kill Banderas. It doesn't look like we're going to be successful. Of course not, no. It can just run away. Temp going to be ulted here by Agony Pain, but he's still able to survive for a little bit.
Stun.
Shift now going to get stunned.
W.
Temp able to heal up with a match. There's just no damage. There's just no damage from DMG. Agony Pain in agony and pain as Tempt finishes him off with the Mantra Q, and all that time, Lions Creed, his bot side, are pushing in the mid lane.
It's just so close, but yet so far. 2v3 mid.
Jinjo dancing away. This isn't a winning fight, even if DMG are even, but they aren't at this point.
Ooh. Rend one auto attack from taking down 2 people there. A little unfortunate for Jinjo, but a miscalculation nonetheless. Tier 2 turret falls. Tier 2 top is going to go down as well. Looks like Banderas is making headway through that turret. And Lions Creed, they're just continuing to pummel their advantage.
Absolutely relentless. And Rudu, we're seeing a reset here from Jinjo. He's got a tunnel in his inventory. What is he building?
I'm going with experimental hexplate. No, it's Edge of Night. He's got a Dirk. Yeah! Just in time. Just in time.
Oh, and so now the shotgun scatter combo.
Less effective.
Less effective.
But the way Syndra ult works and the way it procs with Edge of Night, it blocks one ball and then the rest of it goes through. So the spell shield would block one ball of ulti from Syndra and then the other 3-4 would hit. So honestly, you reduce a little bit of the damage, you still get scattered and you still get stunned. So.
Oh, well, and it also just get propped by Mystic Shot as well.
Maybe. That could also happen.
Well, it has actually happened.
There's also Luden's Tempest as well. Or Companion, sorry.
Sorry. No,
I've
come
been
on.
fired.
Oh,
Sorry. We'll have to sub in Veteran for the next one.
That is disgusting. He loves naming items and champion abilities. That's
Champion
his favourite thing to
abilities.
do.
He was very good at it earlier on.
I'm not going to lie, when Archron was doing that game, I was sat here screaming out all of the answers that were just immediately being shut down.
Yeah, it was really weird when you were screaming out lick, lick, lick for Tom Kent's Q. That was pretty strange.
Right, that needs to stay between roommates.
Banderas is still absolutely having a whale of a time down on the spot side. With that Liandry's finish, the pitfall that you can fall into is you become a little bit squishy. Unfortunately, as we highlighted on that top 2v2, you have shielding from yourself, shielding from Karma, and also, coincidentally, a 10k gold lead, which might help you out in that squishy department.
Doesn't feel like a coincidence right now. That just feels like the way that Lions Creed have played the game to not absolute perfection. There have been a few Bumblerooskies here and there, but I think this is what we expected from Lions Creed in this game, and my, are they delivering?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, the 10k gold lead speaks to it yourself. I think it's actually a team-wide win, right? Like, every game we look to try and find a person who's been really impactful, done the most, but it feels like that bot side was such a cohesive 3 versus 3 effort that started off that snowball. Lions Creed this is a team win.
Oh, well, not just yet here, as Jinjo is going to get caught out here, shut down. That's the shotgun, the burst potential that DMG still have. Now you've just got to do it against 4 more people. I'm not sure how likely that is. Killing spree here for Banderas as Agony Pain chased down in his own jungle once more. Double for Johan. Ducks going to be finished off by Kasing, and LVS the last man standing.
Yeah, limps away to tell the tale, unfortunately, but it's just a miserable story no matter which way you look at it. Now, the one silver lining for DMG is they just got borderline aced, and there's no Baron to take. So, they didn't lose the Baron. Is the copium a bit too hard?
I think that we maybe need to lower the dosage a little bit.
Okay. So, what would you lower it to? How are you coping for DMG then?
Again, I think we have to go back to old faithful Dr. DDoS.
Dr. DDoS!
Get him involved.
My favourite. We'll pull him out. He's been a sub in the NLC for a while.
Setting fire to the internet cables.
Yeah, how many agents have we got working in the Lions Creed camp?
It's obviously a rough situation for DMG, and honestly made to sting a little bit more by that Ruddy win earlier. Puts them 2 games adrift here at the bottom of the standings, and feels like we've seen good things from them at times. We've seen performances that we didn't really expect, but this is, well, it's absolutely everything that we expected to see from Lions Creed at the start of the split. They have scaled up over the past few weeks, and this is elementary.
And it really does feel like DMG just haven't even graduated kindergarten yet, like at that level, right? You know, just below. And with the Baron up, cool. They can get it.
Kindergarten.
Elementary school. What's below elementary school?
Nursery. Nursery.
I'm appealing to the European population.
I'm appealing to the British population. And if you've looked at the
brother man.
If you've looked at the caster lineup, that's what we're here for. Baron going to be taken down by Lions Creed. And if there was any hope left for DMG in this game, I think it is well and truly gone. GG, go next.
So, over or under, do Lions Creed end with this Baron or not?
I mean, come on, they're not NORD, right? Johan finding a fight in the enemy jungle, not really starting himself, but he'll be more than happy to take the fight that's given to him. Banderas causing chaos, Johan continuing to march through DMG, and LVS, he was doing fine top lane for most of this game, but the rest of the map has fallen apart without his assistance. The Baron going to be used by Jinjo to push through Banderas, heading towards the top side potentially to empower that wave. No, Lions Creed just going to opt for the front door strategy. Jinjo a little bit aggro with his positioning now, but I feel like he can. Inhib going to be exposed, and Lions Creed able to knock it down.
And to touch on some of the pitfalls that we've seen from Lions Creed and really highlight them as a benefit to what they've been able to accomplish. Previously as a team, we've critiqued them for frequently going for invades just at the wrong time when your mid lane can't come, where you're not able to collapse as a full unit. I think this game has been a perfect example of how they should have been looking to play former games. And in, week 2, week 3, when we were criticizing them quite heavily, they were falling into mistakes which appear rectified right in this game.
Yeah, this has been a clean snowball, which I think when you do generate such an early lead for yourself is kind of what you need to be doing. It's all very well and good getting... Well, I'm not doing maths on cost, but this amount of gold ahead at 20 minutes. But if the game ends up bleeding out to a 30, 35-minute game, then something has gone wrong.
Yeah, you start to question quite why is it taking us this long, and you can see that they don't really care about this dragon. They're not getting a soul to end this game. They've already broken open mid. They're waiting for super minions to spawn in that mid lane to act as a 6th member, draw some pressure from DMG. And while they've still got the Baron up, let's see if they can break open another inhibitor.
Oh, Duck's going to be going for a Hail Mary engage here onto Kasing, looking for a reset, but look at your backline, buddy! Banderas setting them all on fire! The double kill for the Udyr is he is going to get shut down, and Shift is going to have access to more gold than he's had at any point in this game with that stolen corpse, but the result is the same. The inhib dropping off the face of the map, and Lions Creed look to end.
It's defender's advantage versus Karma and a Fed Kalista. DMG in a 3v3 to defend their game.
Johan with the Q on Shift's head. Shall he make him dead? Jinjo going forward with the hops, rending down his opposite number, going for another one with the flash, and it's acceleration pedal to the metal from Lions Creed. Just hunting for some kills on the fountain at this point. The Nexus is exposed, and Lions Creed take down DMG in under 24 minutes.
25-5, 18,000 gold lead. A borderline, clean, clinical, flawless performance from Lions Creed. They found that lead early on, and they did not let it go.
Not at all. Jinjo.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
He's a good player. Good AD carry. Good Kalista player,
I've heard that a lot. But I think again, we alluded to it sort of at the end of that cast. The great thing to see here from Lions Creed was that this wasn't a lead that got fettered away.
No.
This was correct play, correct play, correct play, correct play. And they kept doing that 25 times until they just won.
Yeah, exactly. Commiserations to DMG. I think they're playing with a very substituted roster, and for a welcome to the bot lane, welcome to the DMG bot lane. Yeah, that's about as bad as it gets.
Rough stuff. Cabs no longer undefeated in the NLC. A record that I thought was going to stand for the test of time, to be perfectly honest. We are going to be jumping to a short break, and then the analyst test will break down how Lions Creed got that W.
Break it down, step on the gas, let's get out of town. We gonna break out and have some fun. We gonna do what you never done. Oh yeah. Come on, take your body with you. Bring some money weekend. Everything we wanna, we go do. It's leisure, we go do.
You gotta understand, the middle court is currently 0 for 8 this week. Yes. He has not got a single protection right.
Hey. Yeah, let's see how you do under pressure. Oh. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra. Fuck with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more.